Hello there, I'm Tom Nyback. This is 365 Days Towards Racial Change. Welcome. We're here talking about black issues here in America, how black people are getting along, history, politics, economics, present state, future hope, all these things. Concerned about the mind of black people. Are black people thinking, critiquing their situation, understanding how they get along, what is important? Do they uh, have any concern for change, being better, doing better in America in general? Right? We got plenty of. I'm fair. I feel. We got plenty of outliers. We even got some billionaire uh, American black people. Great. But what's the general experience? See, the general experience for white people is considerably much better than the general experience for black people. I want to see the majority of black people competing, doing well in management, owning businesses, and things like that. That needs to be the mindset for control. You know, Unfortunately, my experience, my witness in America, just does not bear that out. Maybe I'm going through a transition period right now. Maybe I'll emerge uh, from this experience and see a different America. So much of my reflection here is due to my experience in the land up to this point. You know, and I'm a little bit isolated, but the solitude is catharsis for me. Very important at this time. Anyway, black mind thinking. You know, where is it at? What does it want? For the white mind, they have that expectation of favor, privilege, moving about with ease, doing well in the system. The system, America, listen, it's a system created by European whites, heavy European white influence. It's created for European whites to support them, help them out. And it's administered by a very European white um, ideology. So I wonder who's going to benefit from that system. I'm not going to go any further with that. The white mind, where is it at? How does it go? And listen, I'm not anti-white or anything. I've got white mentors and friends and people willing to give me feedback on a lot of issues. In this white system, like a lot of things appear esoteric and secretive, hidden to me, a black person. I don't have ready access to some of the instruments of success in America as many white people do. So I asked. I got white mentors. I got white friends, and I love my white friends definitely and dearly. Yeah, hey, gotta go where the power is. Where do you want to be? And hopefully I'll get more black influences around me. That's just not where it's at right now. I'm inspired to do this work by a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. Read 3 of his works, but he's got plenty of material on YouTube, internet, and stuff like that. Dr. Claude Anderson. First book I read was A Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. Next book I read was Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice. And Dr. Anderson's national plan to empower Black America, Powernomics. You can find Dr. Anderson at powernomics.com. After we get done this extended version of story time, we're going to get back into some serious factual subjects from Dr. Anderson. I'm just on vacation right now. This is pre-recorded And I love story time, so I wanted to do something fun, even for my vacation here. Behind me, you'll see the hashtag #US2 symbol. Find black women supporting one another and conversing there. Check out Black Enough, BLAGGENUF, for Black Facebook experience. More groups, organizations coming together there. If you can't find your flavor here on the World Wide Web, then do what I did. Start your own little um, space. Get your friends and family on a private email list and start from there. Who knows where this is going? Even though this is a personal project for me, I'm, I've got some people that get a daily dose. This is public, so the content is no different. They just get a personal email from me every day that this airs every episode. And like I said, we're in our extended version of story time with Uncle Tom's Cabin, fictional life of slaves, the institution, the slave masters, but it gives us a lot of talking points, bring out some facts from yesterday and today, maybe even into tomorrow. All right, chapter 28, part 2 here. This is a three-parter uh, embedded within our extended story time with Uncle Tom's Cabin. And Tom has just got the news. He's going to be emancipated. You know, you got to feel you're going to get a new vehicle. You're going to get a house. You got a raise. That girl is interested, giving you some good feedback. That guy is giving you some good feedback. It's a joyous, big uplifting. We were just so uh, almost negative and sad with Eva dying and stuff like that. And Harriet really grabbed at our heartstrings and drew us into the story with this little white girl. And now Tom, lo and behold, glory to God, bless the Lord. Tom is going to be emancipated. He's going to get his freedom. St. Clair is the ice is broken and he's starting to turn. He's going to begin his mission to free the slaves on his plantation. Get them into society, get them competitive, empowered, and let them go for it. We're so happy. This is a joyous thing that we ended good high note we ended with on yesterday, huh? Right? Tom's emancipation. We open this section. Mammy was very close to Eva, and she gets mentioned here and there in relation to Eva, uh, as Eva was dying and stuff like that. So Mammy, she's trying to mourn. The text tells us, she's trying to mourn and stuff, but it's broken up and interrupted by Marie's nagging and pressure and wants and stuff like that. And Mammy, is getting to her ropes, her wits end in that, and that's how this section, this part 2, opens up. And Mammy is in distress, and her works, it's affecting her work. She can't mourn properly. Marie is at her. She's closest in proximity to Marie, and her work is failing, which compounds Marie's criticism and stuff like that. Poor Mammy, is going through some changes. You know, um, Ophelia, because we're talking about how plantation life is getting on after they buried Eva up at Lake Pontchartrain at the summer home. Ophelia is beginning to touch Topsy physically, maybe for the first times in her life, and this is helping to facilitate Topsy's recovery and Topsy's um, entrance into the real world of balance, love and hate, you know, uh, excess or privation. All she knew was the negative, but now she at least she can balance it out. Now she can make some better judgments with the being informed properly um, with love. It's too bad, Topsy isn't getting love from the black people in the story. I noticed that in the text. She's Topsy's uh, recovery and all that isn't from white folks necessarily. It's from the black folks. Tom may have some things to say in that respect, but it's more uh, white folks being the outreach. You know, I got to kind of say that in my experience too. Aside from family, of course, now Topsy has no family, no black family. Um, it's it's been in my life the interaction with white folks that encouraged me to turn my life around, get out of dysfunctional living and thinking. Topsy I have a very close um, connection with Topsy. I get it, you know. That's an indictment, and in some ways, of the black community that there's not enough of that type of exchange and altruism. Well, and I get it. We're hurt, dysfunctional, struggling, navigating some heavy issues, you know. But hopefully, as we recover as a community, that we would be the ones with the outreach and the love and stuff like that. Not just at church, It can't be just a church thing. I feel you've even found that out. But anyway, Topsy's making some headway. There's starting to be a physical connection with Topsy and Ophelia. Ophelia feels Topsy's hand as similar to Eva's. Now, which is interesting, like Topsy is a slave, so she's worked. So her hands may have been a little rougher, although she's been away from the hard manual labor. She's been taking care of Ophelia's room. She's been sewing a lot. So her hands have probably softened over time. And Ophelia likens Topsy's hands to Eva's hands, just in black skin. And so the ice is breaking between Ophelia and Topsy, and there's some positive movement there. Very important, for these two women, and it's got to be. And Eva demonstrated to us that you got to put skin in the game, literally, emotionally, figuratively, up until the point where Ophelia witnessed Eva's ministry to Topsy. Ophelia was engaged in an academic process of raising a child, very clinical and experimental and all that, and no genuine, real connection with Topsy. Nothing, um, nothing memorable. That's kind of what I feel. Some of my journey to health is inundated with a lot of men and women that want to be the caregivers, but that they want to. It's they're over there and I'm over here. They'd never have me to their house. They'd never have me. They'd never embrace me. They would never. Uh, there wouldn't be physical contact. I wouldn't be in their lives, right? Hence, their intentions toward me, their ministry, is tainted and questionable and doesn't go very far, doesn't have a big impact on my life because I feel like, you know, they just preached at me and now they're going to go home and be with their pets and children and roll around on the floor and have fun and put me out of their mind. The way I used to work at a machine shop, the way I put the machine out of my mind when I went away, that kind of thing. There is some of the peace of the house is broken again. Now, we know Marie breaks peace in the house, but this is the different. This is a more of an uproar piece, and we know when this usually happens. Topsy is close around. Topsy and Rosa are at it. Topsy has something hidden in her skirt, and she's trying to hide it and whatnot. And Rosa is always on the lookout because Rosa has nothing but contempt and suspicion towards Topsy. Rosa's another house slave. And so Rosa has finally caught, she's sure she's finally caught Topsy at something, and she can't wait to get it and tell Master that Topsy's at it again. And that brings St. Clare and Ophelia running to where this commotion's going on. And Ophelia demands the object. And what it is, it's a stocking. In the stocking is a daily devotional that Eva wrote all for a whole year. If you have a devotional life, you probably have a little book where every day of the year there's something to meditate on. I've got a couple of those in my life. Things like the daily bread and stuff like that. I bet you every spiritual discipline, everybody has something they can turn to where every day there's some saying to meditate on. Eva wrote this herself. Impressive, right? Little daily devotional for Topsy. It's just a verse for every day of the year for Topsy to meditate on, along with a blonde curl of Eva's hair. And St. Clair's jaw drops and his heart almost falls out. His eyes are welling up again. And Topsy just has this sorrow that it's going to be taken from her. It's a treasure. It's Topsy's treasure, no doubt. She's afraid it's going to be taken from her and all that. And Topsy is like, she doesn't want to take it, and she falls on the floor. She's broken up about that. And St. Clair says, no, you'll have it. Don't worry about it. And that watching Topsy has moved Ophelia further. Now, I talked about, I think I was a little premature in talking about Topsy's emancipation, transfer of ownership of slave. We talked about that yesterday. I was a little premature. That had not happened yet. But now it's going to happen. Ophelia's like, okay, I want this child. And here's the discussion about transfer of ownership happening faster than emancipation. I was a little premature yesterday. It's okay. We're talking about it now. Ophelia wants to be legally adopt Topsy. And what it is, it's called a deed of gift that St. Clair writes out, gets witnessed by Marie, and now Topsy just in that evening, 10, 15 minutes, it's done. Tom's emancipation that we talked about yesterday, that's going to take a little more time. I guess there's papers to be filed. There probably needs to be some more bureaucracy with getting that to happen. But now here is where Topsy, well, we say it's emancipated because that's Ophelia's ultimate goal. She wants Topsy to be competitive, self-determining, educated, all this, and be able to move about and compete in America. Now, but St. Clair is taken aback by this move and this interest by Ophelia because Ophelia is an abolitionist. She's for freedom of the slaves and whatnot. And this is a problem, right? There's a crisis here. St. Clair's like, wait a minute, you can't be serious. You'll be excommunicated from the abolitionist order of free slaves and stuff, you know? But Ophelia's like, no, 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 no. My intention is to get this young black girl into a space where she will be free. I might intend to free her, and I want her to be educated, to compete and stuff. I'm taking her up north eventually, and I'm going to give it a go in Vermont, where she's from. Vermont or New Hampshire, one of those two states. I get them mixed up all the time. But that is Ophelia's intention anyway. So yeah, the transfer of ownership, that's just massaging the situation so that she can free her. She doesn't want to. Ophelia has an idea of how long it would take to emancipate Topsy and stuff, but she's going around. She's going the back door way on that issue, and she just wants to just own Topsy, and then she can take Topsy and release her more orderly in a better circumstance. And that's Ophelia's argument for owning a slave. Even though she's an abolitionist, she understands she needs to facilitate the transition. And this is the we get into a couple conversations, hinted at a couple conversations even, about cruelty of just releasing a slave out into the world. It's cruelty because there's no education, how to fend for themselves, where to go, and how to interact with the system and stuff. They've been the recipients, lived in a welfare state on the plantation. Master gave everything, clothes maybe once or twice a year. Food came from Master, that all it was always looking to Master for our needs and stuff like that. Living in the wake of Master's, efforts out in the world. We just came in behind and supported that. But how do we compete? Go to the store, run a business, stuff like that. The house slaves might have a good, idea of that. They met merchants probably and been sent on errands, so they may know a little bit about that. The slave out in the field has their circumstances a little more challenged, having worked out in the field all the time. So, we have a conversation between Ophelia and St. Clair, about the necessity of education, maybe mentorship and stuff like that. It's very appropriate. Problem is with white people, what I see with the American system is that they didn't configure this kind of outreach and education to make black people equally competitive, to see eye to eye, to self-determine. They just made it so that they didn't have to take care of us directly so much. But they made sure they stayed on top, elements of the white power in America, and that they keep that ceiling. And as white people, as black people, as a group, try to reach for that, they just raise the ceiling and keep changing the rules and try to, that's my perception of America towards black people. Definitely, I think I can find a lot of proofs for that dynamic occurring right here in our soils, home of the brave, land of the free, and stuff like that. Those are white doctrines. Black people are living in the wake, chasing the carrot. The ceiling's been risen and keeps moving upwards away from us. Very, very real dynamic and circumstance. Um, so that's a lot different from having Ophelia's idea of making Topsy, equal with whites, where there's no difference economically, competitively. That would be a whole different America if that occurred, but that did not occur. You know, with every liberty and benefit given to black people, you'll find the white system uh, benefiting and moving the ceiling upwards and upwards incrementally, away from keeping it fixed, a fixed distance away from black success in general. Don't miss that. No matter where you land, that's a very real phenomenon in America. Um, there's an urgency. Ophelia has an urgency. Like, do it now. Suddenly, the story shifts. Ophelia's concerned about St. Clair's mortality. There's an urgency to get St. Clair to move on this. Okay, you agreed. Do it. Write the papers now. I need this now. Let's get it done. And she said, I think she literally says, "Look, you could die, forget, space it off. I don't want this to be lip service. If you're if you are serious about giving Topsy to me, do it now." And St. Clair submits, writes the calls a deed of gift, as witnessed by Marie, and the deal is done. Topsy belongs to Ophelia. But this is a good thing. Ophelia's intention, we have no reason to doubt Ophelia's intentions, and she's going to make this, she's determined to see Topsy be a respected woman, an asset to the community, all of the above. Look, Ophelia, her spirituality has gone up another level, another step as well. She says God is in control and wants some dispensation for the slaves. You got to do something for the slaves. So here's St. Clair again. This is the third white woman in his life that's pleading with him. And Harriet Beecher Stowe is probably just using this whole thing. The narrative of the story is probably what's happening in general in real life with this slave institution. In real life, that white women, and white women were very much the advocates of, treating black people properly through history, right? So you got St. Clair's mother, Little Eva, Ophelia, right? Three white women impressing truths and spirituality and stuff like that on to St. Clair to say that these black people are humans. Recognize the humanity, and if you perform based on those motivations, the next logical step is to set them free. Well, we're worried about the housekeeping, about education and stuff like that in a minute. Get them free first. Set them free. And she's concerned, prophetically concerned with St. Clair's dying all of a sudden. There's this shift in the story about St. Clair being in danger, in jeopardy. Why is she so concerned all of a sudden? I don't know. Interesting. I mean, as I was reading the text, I'm like, well, what does she know something? Did she put a hit out on St. Clair or something? What's going on? Let's find out tomorrow. I'm out of time. I don't want to hold you hostage. Thanks for spending some time with me. I'm Tomlin's Nyback. It's 365 days towards racial change. Day 220 out of the way. Thank you. Let's come back and see what's going to happen tomorrow.